You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible.
House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff used his opening statement to attack President Trump. He said that it doesn't matter if his attempts to obstruct Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation amount to a crime. They amounted to something worse: disloyalty to country.
This is also a story about money, about greed and corruption, about the leadership of a campaign willing to compromise the nation's interest, not only to win, but to make money at the same time. About a campaign chairman indebted to pro-Russian interests who tried to use his position to clear his debts and make millions. About a national security advisor using his position to make money from still other foreign interests. And about a candidate trying to make more money than all of them put together through a real estate project that to him was worth a fortune, hundreds of millions of dollars, and the realization of a lifelong ambition, a Trump Tower in the heart of Moscow. A candidate who, in fact, viewed his whole campaign as the greatest infomercial in history. Donald Trump and his senior staff were not alone in their desire to use the election to make money. For Russia, too, there was a powerful financial motive. Putin wanted relief from U.S. economic sanctions imposed in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and over human rights violations. The secret Trump Tower meeting between the Russians and senior campaign officials was about sanctions. The secret conversations between Flynn and the Russian ambassador were about sanctions. Trump and his team wanted more money for themselves, and the Russians wanted more money for themselves and for their oligarchs. But the story doesn't end here either. For your report also tells a story about lies. Lots of lies. Lies about a gleaming tower in Moscow and lies about talks with the Kremlin. Lies about the firing of FBI Director James Comey and lies about efforts to fire you, Director Mueller, and lies to cover it up. Lies about secret negotiations with the Russians over sanctions and lies about WikiLeaks. Lies about polling data and lies about hush money payments. Lies about meetings in the Seychelles to set up secret back channels and lies about a secret meeting in New York Trump Tower. Lies to the FBI, lies to your staff, and lies to this committee. Lies to obstruct an investigation into the most serious attack on our democracy by a foreign power in our history. Even now, after 448 pages and 2 volumes, the deception continues. The president and his acolytes say your report found no collusion, though your report explicitly declined to address that question, since collusion can involve both criminal and non-criminal conduct. Your report laid out multiple offers of Russian help to the Trump campaign, the campaign's acceptance of that help, and overt acts in furtherance of Russian help. To most Americans, that is the very definition of collusion, whether it is a crime or not. They say your report found no evidence of obstruction, though you outline numerous actions by the president intended to obstruct the investigation. They say the president has been fully exonerated, though you specifically declare you could not exonerate him. In fact, they say your whole investigation was nothing more than a witch hunt, that the Russians didn't interfere in our election, that it's all a terrible hoax. The real crime, they say, is not that the Russians intervened to help Donald Trump, but that the FBI had the temerity to investigate it when they did. But worst of all, worse than all the lies and the greed, is the disloyalty to country. For that too continues. When asked if the Russians intervene again, will you take their help, Mr. President? Why not? Was the essence of his answer. Everyone does it. No, Mr. President, they don't. Not in the America envisioned by Jefferson, Madison, and Hamilton. Not for those who believe in the idea that Lincoln labored until his dying day to preserve. The idea animating our great national experiment, so unique then, so precious still, that our government is chosen by our people through our franchise and not by some hostile foreign power. This is what is at stake. Our next election and the one after that, for generations to come, our democracy. This is why your work matters, Director Mueller. This is why our investigation matters, to bring these dangers to light.
What struck me through all of the morning session and then hit home for me with membership was this. And Roland teases me about my career motto because I told him a few years ago it's saving America one black man at a time. And what every member said at the end of their questioning in the morning was that they were certain, but for it being the President of the United States, any other American who engaged in such conduct would have been charged with a crime. And when I listened to that list from member Schiff and looked at the things people had been saying to me on Twitter, why does this matter to us? Why do we care? What is this? How does this relate to the black community? And we're on this show, so it's appropriate conversation. What I kept trying to say back is, if we're gonna fight for civil rights, Counselor Patillo, it has to matter that the President of the United States can commit conduct that, was it you or you or you or me, we would have already seen the underbelly of a jail. How do we talk to our people and let them know this is why this matters enough, even though I know you still don't have your health insurance right, and I know you're still not making a minimum wage, and I know you're still not getting treated fairly here, and I know you still saying yes or no so when you get pulled over by the cops, but this right here should matter.
Well, you know, one of my favorite closings I ever did at a trial was, is you is or is you ain't. And by that, I mean that there's an affirmative duty to prove things. There's an affirmative duty to make sure people understand is you is. And Democrats did a very poor job today of proving that and making that case. Chairman Schiff, Congressman Ted Lieu, and Lucy McBeth from Georgia did the best job all day of making it plain exactly what we're here for, exactly what we're talking about, and exactly what is at stake. Because if we do not have integrity in our elections, then nothing else matters. This is all just shell games. This is all just fun and games, because your tax dollars ultimately are not being decided by your Congress people or by your duly elected representatives. It's getting decided by corporate interests. It's getting decided by foreign governments. It's being decided by an oligarchy, which is not responsible to the American people. And that's how you help people understand that this actually does affect you. On my social media, I saw more people in our community talking about Nicole Murphy than talking about the hearing today. And I think that the problem for Democrats has been converting these important issues, distilling it down the way that Brock could, where he would just say hope and change, the fierce urgency of now, things that people could hold on to, and even if you don't completely understand the full issue, you understand that it's something you need to be concerned about. Instead, they went on these deep-sea fishing trips, which just muddied the waters. Republicans were allowed to run the clock out to basically filibuster.
It's not. I get your point, but it's not a Democratic failing. It's not a Democratic problem, because actually every member of that committee was supposed to care about this. It's not the Democrats who are supposed to care about the judicial system or care about whether the president is able to commit a crime and get away with it, or whether the American people have people who, you know, do their jobs as public servants. That's what the grand old party is supposed to care about too, right? I mean, we're not supposed to be okay, are we, with that laundry list of things that were done factually, those are findings of things that happen, or the lies that were told to cover it up. Shouldn't everybody care about that?
Well, I think more importantly, it's time for our excuse me, it's time for our nation to come together. It's time for everyone to look at a more unified approach. And it's challenging to do that when you have different media outlets saying different things, and you have members of Congress. I don't know, not to be funny, I don't know what they call them in the squad. I don't know what their name is, but when you have members of Congress who call it
right, and they don't even have anything to do with this today, and they don't have anything to do with this hearing, and I'm not even going to let you try it. What I'm asking you is, shouldn't the GOP care about whether a presidential campaign is cozying up to and receiving information from a foreign enemy? And shouldn't the GOP care about the lies that were told and the people who were arrested for that happening? Isn't that an obligation of your party?
Well, I think it's an obligation of all parties, and I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's Democrats and Republicans, right?
I don't think that they do not care.
I couldn't follow all those negatives. Niambi, we're running out of time. Closing thoughts.
Well, my closing thought, I think to all of this is that it's not a political theater. It shouldn't be. But I do think Representative Schiff had the message of the day, and I think they have to repeat this over and over and over again. Unfortunately, Democrats are going to be the only ones repeating this because Republicans see an allegation of a potential crime and Democrats see a crime. And I think what he talked about is this man violated his oath of office, right? He is actually derelict in his duty as president to lead this nation and to protect us from all enemies, foreign or domestic. And that, to me, is the bigger smoking gun than anything we got out of this day. So all people have to be mindful that our democracy is a very fragile thing. And if we don't protect it, then no one else will. And certainly for our communities, for black communities that are the most vulnerable, we must be at the front line of this fight in the House, in the Senate, and everywhere else.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, you've heard me talk a lot about marijuanastock.org. Why? Because I want to keep you informed of investment opportunities that make sense. We have all watched the growth of the cannabis industry. A recent report by New Frontier Data estimates the global cannabis market at over $340 billion. We know that marijuana legalization is sweeping the country state by state. We also know that marijuana has a good cousin, the hemp plant, with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all of the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill changed all of that, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. And they need land to grow all of the plants. Folks, this is not rocket science. It's just an investment, an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. In their business model, it is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. Our friends at 420 Real Estate decided to do something special for the Roland Martin Unfiltered family. Originally, the minimum investment level was $500. Right now, though, you can invest in the crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200. The range is from $200 to $10,000. Again, this is a $340 billion industry, okay, that is still growing, and you can get in with as little as $200. To invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game, and you can do it now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.